Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on Polywine, where we like to take a deep dive into stories pulled from the media and have a fun time while breaking it down. I'm Jillian, and let's get into it. So, here in the US, we just celebrated the Thanksgiving holiday. So, if you were with loved ones, friends, whatever the situation may be, I hope you at least had a moment, take a moment of appreciation to give things that you were thankful for. It's kind of the spirit of the holiday. So I hope you were at least able to take a moment and say thanks for whatever it may be that you were thankful for. So it was a little hectic here, but I hope everyone was home safely. And speaking of Thanksgiving holidays, there's been a lot of talk in the pop culture world, in the entertainment world, because Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce had a Thanksgiving holiday together, but this is different. They had both families together. You had the Swift family, the Kelce family together to celebrate with them. So there's been a lot of talk. Is there something else going on? Could there be a progression in their relationship, as in an engagement? Well, the rumor mills are talking in the social media world, so we're waiting to hear what could have come out of that holiday. I mean, they could have just had a very nice holiday with both sides of the family. They've been dating long enough. It's about that time. They're both of a particular age. I'm sure that the conversation's coming up. We've been dating for a while. Where do we see this relationship going? And lock it in, Travis. Lock it in quick. Okay, so could there be? We are waiting the winds. The other holidays are kind of coming up. The end of her Eras tour is coming to an end. So will something come out the next following weeks about the status of the relationship? Has it moved forward in a positive way? Let's see. So interesting. But the rumor mills have been all over the place. And speaking of the holidays and Travis and Taylor, we also have all the football. Did you enjoy watching the football? Did you have a good time? I don't know if you saw the college football game this weekend against Michigan and Ohio State. Well, huge rivals anyway between those two. And it got a little heated at the end. Michigan won, but at the end of the game, one of the Michigan players actually grabbed the Michigan flag and tried to stick it into the field right midfield, right in the center, right in the logo. And as soon as this guy was trying to stick in the field, you see this wall. I was watching the video earlier on the news, YouTube, and a couple different sites, but I wanted to see it from different angles. And you could see it as soon as they were trying to stick that flag into the ground, you just see like this wall of red of the Ohio State team coming into like, oh no, not on our turf, not on our home. And they started to yank it off immediately. Fight ensues. You see the cops in the middle trying to break it up. They're getting knocked down all over the place, what it looks like in the videos. And I mean, you've got these players that are still geared up, padding still on, adrenaline pumping, and just ready to go out. I mean, it was just adding gasoline on the fire. Ohio's trying to rip the flag down. Michigan's trying to get the flag up. Everybody's fighting. It was just chaos, absolute chaos. I don't know if there's going to be any fines giving out. It did seem, many of the commentators were announcing this is very unsportsmanlike conduct, especially considering they already won. It's one thing to go around waving the flag around after a victory, but to try to plant it in midfield, it seems a bit extreme. But wow, it was a brawl on the field. It was an absolute brawl on the field. Like I was watching, I want to say it was like the Fox College Sports Channel, and you see that they were interviewing. This woman was interviewing this guy on Michigan, and all of a sudden you see this guy like get out of the way, and you just see this scuffle behind him, and he moves out of the way. I don't know who pushed him out of the way, but somebody pushed him out of the way, and this just wall of people were just coming at him, and it was insane. There's been a lot going on the fields and on the courts lately in college. It's getting a little too risky. I don't think anybody should charge the field or the courts. My personal opinion, I just think there's just too much risk, too much liability. Although I didn't see fans rush the field in that situation. It looked like it was only the teams involved, but wow. what a skirmish, what a scuffle. I mean, like, it was a full-on brawl. Like, it was nasty. So the coaches look pissed. And they should be. They should be. But we'll see what comes out of it. Wow, what a great game anyway, but just to end that way was unfortunate. It was unfortunate. But speaking of games and football, there's something that I kind of wanted to talk about, and that is my guy, Randy Moss, my fellow West Virginian Randy Moss. I love that guy. I've always been a huge fan of him, not only because he was from West Virginia, he's just an incredible athlete. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. He's played on some of the best teams. Him and Tom, close guys. I love him. He actually announced this past weekend. He disclosed that he is going through an internal medical issue. He did not disclose exactly what that issue is, but he did ask for prayers for himself, for his family, for what they're going through. He did not give any details on the diagnosis, his condition. He did not disclose any of that. He just said it's an internal issue. It seems like it is a serious issue. So, Randy, if you're asking for thoughts and prayers, you got it from me. I adore you. You're my guy. And I'm so sorry you were going through this. I guess the other week he was on air and some fans had really reached out and were commenting about his eyes. And so following those comments, he did actually disclose that he is going through a medical issue, but to pray for him. And he did actually give a shout out to men. He said, men, please go get your blood work. Please go get your checkups. Please go have that. And I think that was a very wise comment to put out there for men. I don't know how long he has been dealing with this medical issue. He didn't say, but I am glad that he did put that announcement out there because, you know, some men can be a little bit stubborn, some, not all. This is a general statement. Can be a little bit stubborn about going to the doctor. Maybe they don't want to go because they don't want to hear what the doctor may say. They don't want to hear it. Sure, but it's important to go. You may not like what they have to say, but it is important to go get your checkup. And what the doctor might tell you might actually save your life. So go, please get your checkup. Randy, I'm sure your whole NFL family is pulling for you. Tom Brady, I know you guys seem to be very close. I'm sure he's pulling for you, but your West Virginia family is pulling for you too. I mean, there is such a comfort factor to me when I watch the pregame, during the game, hearing Randy Moss, hearing his West Virginia accent. I love it so much. And he's just an incredible athlete. He brings so much to the world of football. Thoughts and prayers are for you and your family, Randy. So speedy recovery, and we wish you the best. Absolutely. But gosh, did you see the Bills game? Did you see the snow there? Essentially, it looked like a blizzard to me. I'm not a big fan of the snow, but I mean, wow, the fact that these men play that game in just that thin gear, you know, most of them don't wear the undershirts. They're in freezing temperature. They're sliding in the snow. They're hitting these other men at full impact. It's got to be painful. But another great game. Congratulations. But yeah, so pretty to see them playing in the snow, but I would hate to be playing in it. Really sucks. But moving on to some of the entertainment world, Elton John. The great Elton John, Rocket Man, Tiny Dancer, all that stuff. He had announced that he has lost his sight due to an eye infection. I guess he went to the opening premiere of The Devil Wears Prada, the Broadway show in London, and he announced that he had lost his vision due to this infection that kind of hit him in the summer. And he wanted to, see the Broadway show earlier, but he wasn't able to. And he just was happy to hear it and still be a part of it. So Elton, oh my God, I'm so sorry not to be able to read your music, and that such a heartbreak. But we are pulling for you. I don't know if that's a recoverable condition that he has. I don't know the details of his condition, but oh God, that sounds awful. Just absolutely awful. And to have, it's just so sad. And speaking of other medical conditions, Jamie Foxx, the great and extremely talented Jamie Foxx, singer, actor, comedian. I mean, he can game show host when he does Shazam. What doesn't he do? He does everything. God, he was so good back in the day in Living Color. God, he was so good on that show. I was watching a couple of his skits from In Living Color the other day. God, he's just so talented. God, he had that medical scare this past year where he was filming in Atlanta. He had a medical emergency. Some were speculating it was stroke-like because he went to this facility in, I believe it was Chicago, to learn how to walk again and talk again. These are the stories that leaked out. They did not disclose, the family did not disclose the detail of his medical emergency. They just said that it was a medical emergency. And I mean, what a recovery. I mean, it sounds, from the few things that Jamie Foxx has said, I mean, it sounds like he had to walk again, talk again, just learn how to do the most basic things again. And wow. And the short time frame that he did it in is just absolutely remarkable, miracle. But he did not disclose the details of his medical situation. But he did just recently film a performance for Netflix, and it was recorded, and it's going to be released on December 10th. And the special is called What Happened Was, and he talks about what the medical emergency was and his process. They've only given you a little bit of clips here. I don't know if people had to send NDAs that were in the audience, but some people have come out in social media and talked about that they were in the audience, and he did discuss a little bit about it. They didn't give any details. So I am very interested in this performance. Again, it's coming out Netflix, December 10th. What Happened Was the name of this special. I want to know. I want to know what happened and what was his recovery like, because no matter what it is, to have such a recovery that remarkable in such a short amount of time is just, to me, there's nothing short of a miracle. It sounded like it was the extreme situation and he pulled through it. And the fact that he's just, I don't want to say normal because I don't think that's necessarily a fair statement, because what is normal? But he seems pretty normal now, considering he went from a dire situation to now. And whenever it comes out, there's been a lot of speculation in the conspiracy theories about what he might talk about, whose name he might bring up. I'm not going to mention the celebrity names that he might bring up in that special. I don't want to get sued. But there's been a lot of speculation of some of the names that could come up in this special, and I will be watching. No matter what, it's going to be hilarious. But I want to know. I want to know what happened to him. The guy is just a gift, and the fact that he was giving another gift of life to continue on and continue to give us a gift of entertainment it's a remarkable thing. So Jamie Foxx, I will be watching your special, Netflix, December 10th. Now, I want to get over on a couple other things of TV. And now that the holidays are here, we are in, it's the rush time, right? We are in the final crunch. We are in December. It is the holidays. It is shopping time. It is party time. It is, everything is hectic and chaotic, and it's exciting. I hope you enjoy the holidays. If not, this month can be tough for so many. So if you know anybody that is having a difficult time, please check in on them. Please, we say happy holidays so loosely and we say it to everyone. It's not so happy for many people. So please go in and check on anybody that you might be having a little bit more of a difficult time during this holiday season, because let it be a joyous time for sure. Now let's get over to some shows. Beverly Hills and Bravo. Beverly Hills is really killing it so far. Only the second episode. First episode, Sutton's party, we get into the Kyle stuff. We're getting a little bit more this episode, seeing some of the struggles that Kyle Richards is really going through with her separation with Mauricio, with her children moving out. It's tough. And I am enjoying Erica and Sutton and Kathy Hilton together. These three are really cracking me up. And of course, Garcelle. I wish Garcelle could be in that mix, but she's busy in in Atlanta or wherever she's shooting. I think she's still in Atlanta. but she is doing an incredible job, killing it in the movie industry. So she is busy and, you know, everybody supports her there. So I'm missing Garcelle a little bit, but we are seeing clips of her in Atlanta, and more power to you, Garcelle. Girl power all the way. But although I'm missing her, Erica, Sutton, Kathy Hilton are hilarious. Them taking the pizza kits and the pajamas to Kyle's house to kind of lift up her spirits, I think was a really nice gesture. When girls are going through a difficult time, a separation, divorce, whatever it may, you need your girls to rally around you, to help lift you up, support you where you need it the most. And it was really nice seeing it. And I like that there was an honest moment where Sutton was saying, I don't think I've been a good friend that I really should be in this time to Kyle. Although we got a little bit of some shady stuff going on right now, and we have a little bit of a tricky past. We actually did have an authentic friendship before, and I do want to reconnect with that. And I could do better. I could be better. I know what it's like going through a difficult time of divorce, and I could be a better friend now. And I like that she recognized that, and she's trying to change that. And so seeing those three getting the pizza party together and going to go see Kyle at her house was fun. I thought it was really funny because, Portia and Kyle were cooking dinner when the girls showed up. And as soon as Erica and Sutton and Kathy roll in to the house, you see Portia, who's a typical teenager, just like, see ya, I'm out of here. Like, I cannot handle these older women in the house. Cringe, as my kid would say, cringe. And she was out of there. So I found that kind of funny. Typical teenager, right? But Portia, you look good, girl. You look good. She's just growing up in front of our eyes. I remember she was so tiny, and she's almost out of the house too. So I feel for Kyle. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot to process. It's a lot happening. That's tough. And then and the whole shade about Mauricio, swapping out the picture of Kyle and him on the desk to the Dancing with the Stars. Girl, interesting. Even Kathy was like, oh, no. Like, it's one thing just to remove the picture, but to swap it out with another one, like, there's intent behind that. Some nasty intent behind it. So, I mean, Kathy, again, nail on the head. She did it with Dorit last week during the heart to heart, and she's doing it again with Kyle. Kathy coming through. And Dorit, we're still seeing her struggles with her and PK as they're trying to navigate their separation. PK is coming off very cold, very emotionally cold. And I understand he's English, he's a British guy, stiff upper lip, stay calm, move on, all that stuff. But he seems kind of a little heartless in the situation. Here he was crying emotionally last week to Mauricio because everything's hitting everything kind of came up, and now you're shutting the door. I don't want to, have contact with you as much as we did. I understand you kind of have to have some personal space to grow and move and to take a step back and really reflect on, the issues of the relationship. You need to kind of look at him in a different light. I get that. But that dinner I was a little uncomfortable to watch between him and Dorit. I didn't like it. And I definitely felt like she didn't see it coming, and she was taken back by the conversation, and I didn't like it. But I did find that there was probably the most honest moment that Dorit we've really ever seen with Dorit. And she was saying, during our fights, it's escalated over time. Before it was just a little jab here and a little jab there. And then it got a little bit deeper and a little bit more hateful and a little bit more spiteful in the things that we were said. And it was we were hitting below the belt with our comments because there was just more anger building and more resentment building because we never really resolved our issues. And then it just became nasty. And I felt that's truth right there. It really is. And I felt that was probably the most honest side of Dorit that we've ever seen. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that because so many people, we've seen so many separations and divorces on The Housewives, Beverly Hills, and the other spinoffs, the other Housewives. Dorit can really kind of, kind of talk through things and sometimes really paint it with a pretty brush. And she did not this time. I think she really kind of feels blindsided by the way that kind of PK's handling it, and you got to feel for her there. So you got to feel bad for Kyle, you got to feel bad for Dorit, no matter what your thoughts or opinions have been about them before in the other season. These are serious life challenges, and I don't see how you can't feel for them. So Beverly Hills already coming out with some heavy topics, and I like that right now they are trying to support each other. But I mean, again, this is only episode 2 in the season, so I can't wait to see it. It's going to be no time before they start going after each other and chipping away at that sisterhood. It will take no time, always does. And everybody's already got a little bit. They already have a little bit of beef with Kyle. So I think it's going to turn quick on Kyle. So careful, Kyle. Careful. And we got to see a lot more about Bose this episode, and I am Team Bose all the way. She is the boss, as Kathy says, and just incredible story. Stunning, gorgeous. I mean, to hear her story of her motherhood, her and her daughter, being a widow, I mean, wow. She really is the full package. And a force for the show. So I am really enjoying her. She's a great addition. I'm loving Bose. So on Potomac this week, everybody knows I love Potomac. I'm a Mid-Atlantic girl and I love my girls of Potomac. Ashley, still going through divorce. But we pick up the episode and we're still doing Wendy's 40th birthday. And Eddie's family, who has been estranged for years, came together for the party. And it's a nice moment. The kids finally get to meet some of Eddie's family that they have not met yet, which is sad, but it's a nice moment where they're meeting everybody. And I hope that works and it stays together and they can move forward and grow in the relationship with their families. It seemed like it was a nice moment. Although Wendy's mom had her own opinions and she's quite the addition. Is she a friend of the season, Wendy's mom? Because she is quite the addition. She's very vocal. She's always been vocal, but she is just a little bit extra this season, and I'm kind of enjoying it. But so we start off with Wendy's party and Mia talking about the father, and everybody's like, father. And I forgot that early seasons beforehand, she briefly mentions that she was in another marriage beforehand and she had another child. Totally forgot about that. So I had to go back and do a little research because I forgot about that. But yeah, Mia's never a dull moment on the show. And Jacqueline, this season, I mean, you are just trying too hard. It's too much. It's too much. So just take a step back. You don't need to be ride or die as hard as you are for Mia, even though she made it very clear you don't stick up for me quick enough. They're walking up back into the house. You hear Mia say, girl, stand back there, talking to Jacqueline. She's like, you never got my back. And actually, Jacqueline kind of did have her back. But Jacqueline's playing too many sides of the offense, as Miss Karen said. It's going to get you in trouble. And now she's turning on Karen, and this feud's just getting messier and messier. I liked you before, Jacqueline. I'm not enjoying you this season, so we either need to course correct or I don't think we're going to see you. You came back, you got an opportunity to come back, and I think you're kind of blowing it. So we shall see. But Mia's always got a great story. I mean, geez, Mia. I mean, I don't know how much truth it. I think there's a lot of stretching the truth. But, I mean, you know how to bring the drama. It's never a dull moment with Mia and Jacqueline, but definitely with Mia. And this ink thing, it's messy. Do you think, I think he's still around, but I honestly thought that ink might kind of take a step back a little bit because I don't know. I don't know what the feedback Ink's getting in the world, but it seems like he's putting up with a lot. I didn't say he's not causing a lot of conflict or drama in that relationship. It seems like he is, but I don't know. But Ink, I don't know. This doesn't seem like a very good situation. Personal opinion. Personal opinion. Giselle's still dealing with her daughter's leaving. Karen. What is going on? Other than with your court stuff, yeah, you've gotten really down and dirty this season. You're deflecting a lot, trying to get the heat off of you. Okay, I get your strategy with that one. It is just too dirty. And I think people are going to start turning on you really soon. I think a little bit I think was it I always say her name wrong, Karina. She even said it the other week because she was all team Karen. And the other week when you were in North Carolina and you said you threw out the shade against me and her opioid addiction. Even Karina was like, no. That's I'm not a huge fan of Mia right now. We've already had our tiff. But even that's dirty. I don't like it. And you see a little bit of her relationship, Karina's relationship with her spouse. But Karen, I'm not liking you this season. And the whole scene with you and your daughter Raven, I could have done without. It's nice to have a moment with your daughter, but can we have a natural moment? That whole scene at the restaurant, the food looked really good. I wanted to try it. Like I could have done without that scene. I would prefer a more natural scene. Okay, I guess that's my short end of it. Ashley still going through court with Michael, trying to finalize this divorce. And she said, because they were talking later to the new girl Stacy about her divorce, she's going to meet to start, going through the process with her ex. Ashley had said that, we weren't going into this. My lawyer told me that I need to prepare myself, that I was going to be there all day. I don't care if I'm there till 2 a.m. We are not leaving until this gets hammered out. Well, she said that she was in mediation or negotiations, whatever, for almost 9 hours. Oh my God. That sounds awful. And still not, settled on an agreement. I guess he wanted her to sign a non-disclosure. She did not. So therefore it continues. So she was explaining where they go from here. And it sounds like it's going to get really messy now and ugly. So Ashley, I really wish you the best. It could get nasty. It can get messy. And Michael, I don't know. Karen made a very interesting point. She said, you've got something. You've got a chip on the table. He wants your silence. So now you can start negotiating with that. Fair point, Karen. Fair point. And listen to the ladies. The ladies were trying to give Stacy advice going in. Giselle, Karen, and Ashley was trying to explain her situation. So, because Stacy does seem extremely naive about divorce, about her ex, about a relationship, about her new relationship with TJ. Don't even get me going on how weird I think that whole arrangement is. And I'm going to say arrangement. I'm not going to give it a relationship status because I don't think it's really kind of hit the requirements of a relationship status. I think it doesn't check some of the boxes for me. But it's too weird. TJ, I think this might be your first and final season as well. I haven't heard a lot of good feedback about you being on the show from others in my world, from others on social media, Reddit. I love hearing your comments. I tell you, I think you've been a good season so far. I think we might be back on the upswing. And Stacy at the end of it, finding out she went to mediation. She's like, look, I've never paid a bill. I've never done this. I've never done that. My ex was responsible for all of it. And I just kind of took a backseat to it. And wow, what an eye-opening experience, because as soon as I stepped into some of this mediation, I realized I knew nothing. I didn't know any about the expenses. I didn't know about our financial situation. I did not know really what I thought I knew about my ex. So, word to the wise, women, and to anyone in a relationship, you really need to know the ins and outs of everything of your relationship. And it's great to have trust, but it's also essential to be aware of everything, right? So There you go. That was Potomac. Now, I wanted to really take some time and go into Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City has really just gone in deep, I think, this season. And last week, we had that really touching scene with Angie K and her father, where she really talks about the relationship with her mother, how her mother had struggles with substance abuse, and she ended up passing from addiction. And how Angie's really trying to get through some of her resentment, but she's struggling to get there. And I have to say, I thought that was very, very, very powerful moment. And then we get to this week. And again, geez, another very, very serious, touching, I mean, heart and gut wrenching scene at the end of this episode. So let's get into it. So last week we had all the fighting at Mary's Tiffany party, right? Bronwyn got into it with Heather. Then they kind of get over it. Then you had Meredith getting into it with Angie and with Whitney and Mary and everybody. So, and Brittany, don't even get me wrong on Brittany. So there's Brittany. But we pick up and you have Whitney and geez, Heather. They are planning a Girl Scout county campfire day with camp games and camp food. And they just want to kind of bring the girls together because everything's just been very contentious, very explosive every time they get together. So let's get it together. She said, what can bring things, girls together more than Girl Scout, campfires, camp food, camp games? So let's throw a Girl Scout theme party, but with a true Beverly Hills kind of feel to it. So they did. They meet out, they get their ice cream, they get their food, they get the fire, they get all the stuff, and they're doing the games. And the girls get right back into it. Started off cute and sweet, but then they get into it again. Even Mary was like, I don't even know why I left my house today. And I think we've all had those moments where you get out, you do something that you're really not into it, and then you're just pissed and annoyed at the fact that you left things that are really important behind. You put those on the back burner to go deal with that crap. It's just irritating, infuriating, and I'm glad she said it out loud. I don't know why I left my house for this, because we've all had those moments and we feel like you can't really say it. We like self-edit ourselves. We can't put it out there, but she did. And this is why we love Mary. She's sometimes very predictable in her personality and sometimes unpredictable. So, but that's the Mary we know and love. And you really see it because she is going through a lot. And a lot of the other housewives in this episode keep making that comment. Like, Mary, I think she might be going through stuff. So let's give her a little grace because she doesn't seem like herself. And I'm glad they keep making, saying that, because we do see later in the episode, she really is going through it. So, that whole campfire, the girls' day out, ends disastrously, and this is after we even had, we have the True Beverly Hills, they meet disaster. Then Meredith has a Shabbat's dinner, invites people over, and they get into it there. And we do see a little bit more of Todd, Bronwyn's husband, in this episode. And we find out that when they first started dating, he did an NSH background check on Bronwyn. Very interesting. The dynamic of that relationship is, who am I to judge? And maybe they are very happy. I don't know. I hope they do not have the Bravo housewives curse, and that is divorce is down the path. Because look, if there are already cracks in the foundation of the relationship, I'm not saying that Bravo is going to push that relationship over the edge and into the direction of divorce. But it definitely highlights and brings to the forefront and out in the open for everyone to see and everybody to have an opinion about it, of where the imbalances are in the relationship, right? You really see what's going on. And once it's put out in the spotlight, being on the show can definitely propel it in the direction of divorce. And it's happened. We've seen it happen many times before throughout all the years of the Bravo show. And I don't know. Ted seems a little grouchy. So I don't think he's got a lot of wiggle room in his patience. So careful, tread lightly, Bronwyn. Tread lightly. If you don't want this to cause more friction in the relationship, please tread lightly. But, you know, you see a little bit more of Todd in this episode, and you see Meredith and her family and their journey and reconnecting with their Jewish side. So that was a nice family moment for Meredith. And she does discuss that she's going to have a bar mitzvah soon, and she wants to invite people in the cast and if they could join that moment with her. So that, you know, that was a nice family moment. Now, I want to get over to towards the end of the episode. Everybody keeps talking about Mary, Mary Grace. She doesn't seem like herself. Maybe she's going through something. And then we cut to this scene where things kind of get a little quiet, and Mary's standing in front of the doors of her son's bedroom. You know, the desperation that Mary had was just, it was written and moving. And so this scene starts off. She goes into the room and she's, you know, like, Robert, talk to me. I need to know. This is her son, Robert Jr. I need to know what's going on, what is happening, how can I help you go through this? Because I see you struggling. And it takes a little time. It takes a little time for him to kind of, you know, I don't know, warm up to the camera or get confident, but he slowly starts to talk and get open up a little bit more and more and more. And he was like, okay, fine. You know, I'm struggling. I started, you know, taking some Xanax, and I felt extremely anxious, and, you know, I couldn't handle the stressors of life, and that was too much. And then when that was too much, I would, you know, I don't know if it was Adderall or Ativan or whatever it was to kind of counterbalance that. And then I would kind of be in a funk about that. So then I would take this to kind of counter that reaction. And then I would counter that with some Coke. And then, I mean, like, then I would go to this. I mean, he was really naming, I mean, his honesty and openness about what he was actually doing. And while he's going through it, I mean, we've seen, I don't want to necessarily intervention on the show, because this felt almost like that in this moment, in this conversation with Mary and her son. We've seen very deep family, personal moments and conversations discussing addictions in the past on these shows and in reality TV, but especially I'm talking in the Bravo universe. But this one was just so open, so direct. He was giving specifics on what he was doing, what he was taking, how he was taking it, you know, and I don't think we've ever heard or seen that I can recall someone that so specific and open. And then, I mean, poor Mary, I mean, you could just see her just trying to be there and just processing all of this, because it had to be so hard. I mean, I don't think she saw this coming. She knew it. Maybe she saw that it could be going in this direction with his struggles, but how heavy and how far his addiction has spiraled, and how long he has been suffering and dealing with this addiction and trying to struggle through it. I mean, it was just heartbreaking. And then he says to Mary, you know, life was so hard. And he made a reference to, like, it just seemed like bland chicken. And I just wanted, when I was taking these drugs, it just felt like it was spicing things up, and I just couldn't handle life. And it was just hard for me to deal with it every day, or I didn't want to deal with it anymore. And he started to talk about how he didn't want to live anymore. And when he just started talking about how he was thinking about ending his life, I was bawling in this episode. And Mary, I get choked up even talking about it. Like poor Mary, it just hit her so hard. And to deal with it, and she turned to him, she's like, I had no idea. And the fact that you were suffering like this just kills me. If I could never live my life without you, and you are the world to me, and you are my everything, and my life was hard. My life didn't have the meaning it did until you came into it, and you are my universe. You're my everything. You're my love. You're my best friend. You're my child. I mean, it was so touching and so hard to see that. And it was so raw and so emotional and just powerful. And, there are moments when I was like, should we be witnessing this right now? This seems like a very personal family moment, but then this scene is just so raw. And talk about just ripping a Band-Aid right off in front of the whole world to see. My hat goes off to Mary for allowing such a moment to putting out there, exposing this just hard moment. Wow. But I hope that if a scene so horrible just maybe connects to someone or reaches someone out there that's struggling in silence, that like he had, and maybe just some way, somehow, just reaches them, connects to them, and help them get the help that they need. I hope that they can. Maybe that's why Mary put it out. Maybe she wants to help in that way, and that's why she put such a personal family moment out. Mary, oh my God, we get it. I kept thinking, as I was shedding many tears watching that scene, I was sobbing. As a parent, that's a parent's nightmare. But the way she just listened to it and just was there for him. And she also said to him, I'm here to help you, and I'll do whatever I do. I will not support, but I will help you. Okay? And I thought that was a very touching moment for a parent to say, I'm not going to let's go wild on my watch anymore. I understand. I hear where you are, and we're going to get through this. But I'm not going to give you a pass on this. We're today at this point right now, we're fixing it. That's what you do. As a mom, as a parent, you go into action right when you see a crisis. And she's in crisis mode. This is a crisis. And Mary, I got to tell you, wow, my heart went to you. Robert, oh my God, Robert, for you to be so open. My heart goes to you. It breaks for you. A tip of the hat for you. Be so transparent in that moment with your mom to the world. And I hope a lot of people do reach out to you and give you the support you need, because you need it. You need it. And so do you, Mary. But my thought also was to whomever was filming that scene, the camera, and even production and the edit. Was the person behind the camera just like sobbing, wiping away their tears as they're trying to see through the lens to film this? It was emotional. And Mary, I can't thank you enough for putting that out there, to putting it on film. At first, like I said, I was like, should I be watching this? This is a personal moment. It's way too sensitive for us to be seen. But the more that worked through that moment, it was just the love, the emotion that she was putting out there for her child was touching. The fact that he was like, Mom, I couldn't do it. I couldn't go through it harming myself because of you. Those powerful words that he said, I'm telling you, I'm getting just choked up thinking of it. It was bravo. You have really, really put this out there for us this season. Salt Lake City, I hope Angie and both Bronwyn, you guys have been a really good support for Mary this season. I hope you guys really stick together. I know there's a little tip between Andrea and Bronwyn last season, but I hope you guys can put all that stuff aside and be there for Mary and Robert Jr. He needs you, touching. And like I said, Salt Lake City, we've seen a lot of these stories before on Bravo, but there is just something, and this with Salt Lake City, these topics, like with Angie and with Mary, they haven't forced. It doesn't seem like a forced situation. Like this seems very real, in the moment, heartfelt, deep, emotional scene. I hope, I want to continue to see it. I hope we see Robert come through the other side. I hope we see Mary find her happiness again and work through this with her family. And I hope you have the girls around you to support you because you need it. So Salt Lake City, my God, leaving us on a cliffhanger again. It's been talk about the Rockies. It's been a rocky season, but I'm here for it. I love it. It's been a great episode. But again, leaving on this note of that was so touching. It is the holiday season. Again, I said this earlier in the episode. We say happy holidays to everyone, just so loosely and just so generous. As we saw in these past season, even though this is a happy time for so many of us, a lot of us are struggling. Some of us, if you have friends, loved ones, neighbors, or just anyone that you know that this may not be such a happy time for them, just reach out, give them a call, check in, knock on the door, and just let them know that someone's thinking of them. I'm sure they'll appreciate it, and the world will be a much better place and happier place for that. Thank you so much for joining us today on Polywine. It's been great being away. Please go to Instagram and check us out at Polywine Time and catch us wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks so much and have a great day. Bye.